When you looked at the T7 wedge, everything about it was traditional. The back design, the head shape, the sole, all of it just spoke to tradition. With the T20, we went a little bit more aggressive. So we tried to make sure that we dialed in the center of gravity exactly where we wanted. We put the tapered blade design to manipulate the center of gravity on it. All of those things kind of stepped on the toes of the tradition of the T7. With the T22, it's like the marriage of those two, where you get the performance of the T20 with the look, feel, and performance in terms of sole interaction of the T7. So with the T22 wedge, we have that satin chrome. We have a raw finish that's going to naturally rust and age to give you a little bit less reflection, and our denim copper that's going to have a very rich, unique look at a dress. The first thing you're going to notice with the T22 wedges is the finish. I'm holding the copper one right here. It's the most eye-catching of them, but it's not just a finish. There's a technology behind there. This copper is going to give you the softest feel you've ever experienced in your short game. It's different than just a normal copper just because it looks aged. We aged that on purpose. A standard copper is going to have a much brighter look to it, and it's going to have some reflection. This denim aged copper is going to give you more glare resistance, but it's not just there because it looks good. The copper has a performance benefit because it's going to make this wedge feel even softer, and there's that copper finish on the copper as well as underneath the chrome on the chrome finish. There's 4 grinds within the T22 series. All of them have some consistencies, but then each one's a little bit unique from there. So the trailing edge is one area that's consistently ground off. The actual sole width may be a touch wider than we have been in the past, but along that trailing edge, there is a consistent grind there. That's going to leave the bounce there, the bounce angle for turf interaction, but give you a little bit of relief so that the leading edge sits a little bit lower. Something that a lot of players don't understand is how you actually should use the sole in the short game. You know, Luke Donald's a perfect example of how you should use the trailing edge. So many players get concerned about the leading edge, and when you're using the leading edge of a wedge, you have to be very precise. The margin for error is so little. With the trailing edge, on the other hand, it's almost like built-in forgiveness of a wedge. There's the S grind. The S is the more what we call straight line grind. It's a trailing edge relief with minimal relief along the heel. So this is the most full-soled wedge, so we leave the majority of the bounce here. You get this more in what you'd picture for like a gap wedge or a pitching wedge, something you're going to take a more full swing with. As you get higher in loft, we get more aggressive. So you go from the S grind to the D grind. The D grind's in a D shape across the sole, so you still have that trailing edge relief. Then you have subtle relief on the heel and on the toe. From there, you go an even step further to the C grind. So the C grind, more of like a crescent shape, even more aggressive across the trailing edge, more aggressive across the heel, more aggressive across the toe. When you get into these lofts, these are the type of ones where you'll really open them up a lot or toe down a lot when you're playing different shots around the green. And then if you're someone who really wants to do a lot of manipulation around the green, get very creative with how your club approaches, we have the X grind in our most high lofted. So the X grinds are most extreme with significant relief along the trailing edge, the heel, and the toe. There's nowhere feel is more important than in the short game. You're hitting delicate shots. You're trying to actually pull back, dial it back, hit very specific distances. It's not an all-out max power shot. So in the short game, nowhere is more important for feel. So that's where the grain flow forging and the denim, the feel of that copper, are going to give you something that you can't get from another golf club.